What's better, Gen Z or Millennial?
Clearly, millennials. These guys are too sensitive.
Hey, can I see your brick phone so I can bench press it real quick?
Oh, very funny. Watch the episode to learn about the differences between Gen Zs and millennials.
In real estate.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee, Homes, and Loans. And today we have Jadyne Wrobel.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, he's from Stewart Title, our new and most favorite rep.
Oh, thank you.
I mean it. Yeah, so we're here because we wanted, Jadyne does a lot of marketing for Stewart Title, for your agents, your loan officers, and things like that. And so does Rayleigh for me and for our brand, Coffee, Homes, and Loans, the new show, the wind down, and everything.
If you haven't checked it out, you should go check it out
you
below.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we wanted to kind of talk about the millennial generation, the Gen Z generation, and kind of go from there. So first, tell me, you guys, how did you meet?
It's kind of a funny story.
We've met twice.
Yeah,
Two
we
lifetimes.
met twice. Like, I think we kind of know each other like off of Instagram at first, and then I moved over to Foothill High School, and we kind of just had like I think a math class, right?
Yep.
Was it math class?
It was
and
math.
then we had another class like the next year, and then it was kind of funny. I mean, out of nowhere, obviously I moved over to Stewart Title, and then I met you guys, and I was like, oh, well, look where we at.
Oh yeah, you reached out to me because I was working with the rep that used to work there.
Yeah.
So you were just reaching out to all of the store's clients.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, let me bring Rayleigh.
Yep. And then we met at
Yeah,
the
I
yard
called
house
her like
that.
right away. I'm like, I think I went to school with this kid. I'm just letting you know now, but I think he doesn't know because my name's different. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay, so we show up, and I was like, really? Like, I felt awkward because I wasn't positive because you do look a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, and then you're like, we know each other. I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I found
I saw
him.
you on Instagram, so I saw like all your like proposal, all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
too. So I already knew walking into there.
Exactly. Same here, but
Yeah.
still different because like sometimes people don't tend to post their faces a lot on social media anymore. It's like what they're looking at.
Exactly.
So yeah, but
All their views.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. And then we started working with Jadyne. You introduced us to our favorite, Gloria.
Oh yeah, she's sweet.
Yeah, she's so sweet. So we're enjoying and we're looking to do more marketing and different things like that. And so a lot of the marketing that we do is social media based, right? So we are trying to figure out how to target millennials like me, and I brought notes. They're a little out of order, but
I wonder if that's very millennial of you.
it must be millennial. I should have stapled it. That must be the prior generation that would think about those things. But so millennials were born between 1981 and 1996. So me and Gen Z, like these guys, were born between 1997 and 2012. So even though both generations are kind of similar in certain areas, the marketing and the targeting that you will want to do with your advertising has to be a little bit different,
For sure.
especially when it comes to real estate.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think both generations are very much involved with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But what have you noticed, Jadyne, as far as when you're working with a realtor that is kind of like your generation and somebody like me? Like, do you see any differences as far as to what they are looking to?
As far as like what they're looking to do, yes and no. I mean, everyone wants to come to me and say like, how do I market, right? So it's postcard, it's email blasting, it's flyers, it's going to door knock, all those kind of things. Now what I'm kind of seeing is the older people, they want to like go out and they want to kind of do the door knocking stuff. They want to put the stuff on the front door. They want to actually talk to these people. As our generation, they're more like, let me just do an email blast, let me do a text message, let me just do a little quick phone call, and that's it. And it's kind of like, no, we can't do that. We have to be consistent with it, kind of produce more stuff. So what I kind of see them doing now is more email blasting than anything, which is obviously really good, but now we've got to obviously hit that mark a little bit more. We're going to pick up the phone and actually do a phone call, or we're going to do a campaign blast on that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually do that.
Yeah, so that's really interesting because I heard that if you are in real estate or mortgages, you should try to master one way of advertising. So whether that is just open house, be consistent on the open house, or if that's door knocking, just kind of like do that. Do you think that's a good advice, or is it best to complement it?
It depends. So like for an open house, let's say, what I would do is I would personally go drop off the open house flyers to those neighbors, right? Actually invite them to come out. It's like, hey, I have an open house at 123 Main Street, come check it out. And maybe you give them a little water, like a little candy or something with your little flyer, right? And then from there, I would probably do an email blast too with that same exact flyer you gave them. So not only do they meet you in person, now they're in your inbox. So they're like, whoa, Joe Smith just came out again. Like, whoa, he's here again. So yes, if you stay consistent with a couple things for that one thing, I really do think that's a good idea. But as far as being all over the place, doing one thing here, you're going to get lost.
Yeah.
So stay consistent with one thing, but really dissect what you need to do for that one thing to make it more beneficial for yourself.
Yeah, and I remember in my neighborhood there was this realtor that was holding open houses on a couple of homes that she got a couple of listings, and then she started farming the neighborhood.
Right.
And every 2 weeks, as long as the house was listed, we would get a flyer for the house that she had the open house
Yeah.
for. And again, like the candy.
Right.
And then she will put like a little calendar one day she dropped off pens. And so my girls were actually looking forward to see what did the realtor drop off this time.
Exactly.
Because it was something of value.
Yeah. And they're actually knowing you now. Like they're knocking on your front door, they open the door, you're having a conversation with them. As our generation, again, it's all over social media, it's all over, videos and kind of thing. As your generation was more like, let's meet in person, let's connect, let's collaborate. So I'm trying to find people that are more like that to actually collaborate with and do stuff like that. So,
That sounds really good because every time, because I have a Spanish last name, I will get a lot of advertisement in Spanish, like mail.
Oh yeah.
And I look at it and I read it because it's all in Spanish and it brings me happiness because it makes me think of where I came from and things like that. And that actually brought out a point in one of my notes here that it said that millennials, the purchases that they make are for that feeling, the feeling of happiness and the feeling of being positive and things like that. And like Gen Z is more like,
why do I want this?
why do you want
We
it?
ask ourselves questions. And we were kind of talking about it earlier, like, I don't know if you guys agree being a Gen Z or being a millennial, but our generation is very much like, when can I grow up? When can I be like the adults that are around me? Because we're extremely influenced to be successful and to have what we should have, right? Keeping up with the Joneses, I believe is the phrase. So we're very influential in that space, but are we doing it for the right reasons, or is that kind of getting us in trouble because we're not living our life for ourselves? I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. What would you say?
I would kind of agree with that. It's like, because a lot of, if you split it in half, right? Half of our generation, they wanted to grow up. They wanted to do the work. They wanted to, right when they hit 16, I'm going to get my car. I'm going to go get a job. I'm just going to be that person that my parents are, or the persons that I want to be, right?
And something else that my notes were talking about is that Gen Z, about 10% of Gen Z population has saved up for college.
Yeah.
So it's not something that is on their priority on top of their mind. But millennial parents have somehow put some sort of college fund for their kids. And that's very true with me. I don't know that the girls were using it for college, but it's like something that I thought of at the moment I was pregnant.
Yeah.
To say something aside. But it's not necessarily where the new generations are going towards. Because, we were talking about the video editing software that we're learning. DaVinci Resolve from Blackmagic. And it's a very cool software, very inexpensive. And it has so much on it, but it's very easy to learn. And so it's something where my generation will have gone to college to learn it, where you can just sit in there like, okay, well, let's see. Move this, move that. Oh, okay, now I know how to do it.
Very like self-motivated. And you had brought up earlier in another conversation that you would take it in a different direction, like rather than a college fund or something like that, you would basically give your kids generational wealth. You would buy a house for them that would eventually be theirs when they turn 18, that they can sell, they can use to live in, or they can do something with that. What was your idea behind that?
With that, I think I would reward my kids. So if they're doing sports, if they're doing like their chores kind of thing, if they're just out there really grinding for themselves, like I feel like me as a parent, I want to show the respect to that. So what I would do is obviously I would give them some money in a way, but they wouldn't be able to touch it until they're 16. So at that point, maybe they have $10,000 to $15,000 saved up, right? And at that point, I would let them almost buy their own house in a way, let them do the whole process. If that's what they're really liking to do is the real estate part, because my goal obviously is to be a future investor and hold some properties and stuff like that. So me, I always wanted to follow my dad's footsteps. So I feel like my kids would want to do the same thing. So I would invest in real estate for them, let them have that house, or let them go through the process of a house, a condo, whatever they want to buy, right? And at the end of the day, if they want to go to college, they'll sell that property when they're 18 years old, or they'll keep it and they'll keep renting it out for themselves and getting that second salary coming in.
And I think that's really cool because, like, we grew up in 2008. So, like, when 2008 happened and all that craziness happened to our parents, etc., rates and home prices and the world kind of turned around, and it was very easy for people to live. Middle class was easy to achieve.
Oh, for sure.
Right when we became adults, the world took another flip, and it's not easy for us.
I
We
tell my
have
mom
to grind.
every day, like, I wish instead of going to 3rd grade,
Yep.
I would have bought a house that time.
That's
Like,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but they didn't know.
Yeah, if I had the brain I had today when I was
Yeah.
7 years old at that
Mhm.
time, oh, I would be a multimillionaire right now for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at is like they did not know what was going to happen, so they could have put money aside for us, but also it was easy to get.
Yeah.
So they could have supported us by getting us a good job or putting us through college, right? They didn't know what was going to happen, and now it's like you are grinding every day to even get almost to middle class, which is crazy. That's never been a thing.
Exactly.
It flipped real quickly thanks to COVID.
Right?
That is a great point, because now we talk about building generational wealth and how your equity can get you to college or to whatever your goals are, and then also teaching your kids the finances, right? What you don't necessarily
Exactly.
learn in school, how to do your taxes, how
You
to
do.
invest in real estate, how to put aside like on a 401k and
Yeah.
a Roth retirement account and all these things where most people wouldn't know growing
No.
up, because it's something that was so foreign.
Yeah, like
Back then.
seriously, coming out of high school, if I hadn't done a solid for myself and taken the personal finance class at Foothill, I would not have known what a tax document looked like at all. Like, I literally had to go to my dad when I had to file my taxes the first time. Had no idea what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure I paid about $200 my first time to get my taxes done, and I got a check for like $5. Like,
Exactly.
I'm like, that's all I get. They're like, well, after you pay me and your taxes, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So like the same thing. So I took that same exact class, and it's weird that they taught you Excels, how to break down percentages, how to save a percentage of your money, even though, let's say you make $1,000 a month. Well, if you put the 10% away, you're making $100, and obviously that adds up at the end of the day. So they just taught us different ways to actually do that, instead of, okay, how do we divide a percentage over percentage? It's actually life lessons that we need to do. So at that end of the year was like a touch of it for high school. For me, and it pushed us for sure.
And it's funny because I don't know if you did it for the same reasons as me, but it's an elective. Let me just tell you that right now. Can you believe it? It's not necessary, but everyone's like, if you want an easy senior year, take this class because you just kind of learn like easy stuff that will help you. And I'm like, sure, easy sounds great. If I didn't have that class, I would be drowning. Like, that should be a necessity, as well as culinary and wood shop. Why did they take these away? That could be another poll. Like, you guys, why? Do you want them back? I don't know.
No idea. My school was all about calculus, geometry, and social studies. So.
But we don't even have to learn another language. It's an elective.
Oh, yeah.
You only have to
Learning
do it.
another language, you have to learn it over there.
I mean, you can almost choose your math class now, like pre-algebra, algebra, and then it's like pre-cal. Like, instead of doing those, how about you cut off at junior year, senior year, and teach them, taxes for the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then maybe break it down to different beneficiary items to teach them at the end of the quarters kind of thing. Just be like a little end of the year toucher.
And that, I think, is a true definition of the difference between millennials and Gen Z, because schools changed and the world changed. And it changed all of our personalities.
Yeah. That is so very true. I did very much enjoy growing up in Peru. It was very simple. We were talking about the cell phone that I had when I was growing up. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 16. And it was, first I had a big brick Nokia phone. And all I could do with that phone is to get my mom's call to see where
Work
I
out
was.
with it.
Yeah, right?
Bench presses.
And then I got the little phone with a tiny screen with an allowance of, let's call it $5, but it was $5, which is in reality $2. And every text message that I would send, I had to like shorten every single word, get rid of spaces, not put any emojis whatsoever, because every message was basically 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So I was shortening everything to little, and I would be so stingy with my text messages because
simple is better.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah. Look at us. We're turning on the little Siri mic and we're like talking to our phones, and it's like, your whole message done. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like how
we got in trouble because of how easy it was to text.
Yeah.
So, like,
I had to put a lot of thought into who I was going to text,
Yeah.
who was going to get my text message for 25 cents.
Which is probably why we're such a sensitive generation too, because it was like so simple back then, like a yes or a no suffice, but now we need a yes with a big happy face and a heart or something just to get our point across that we're not angry, we're happy, or something like.
You almost have to explain
That's
yourself
weird.
every time.
Yeah.
For sure.
How do you mean?
Like if I get a K, I'm like, oh man, what'd I do?
And if you do like an okay, they're like, okay, maybe they're just having a long
Yeah.
day. Then
Or if it's a dot, dot,
and
dot, and
Y,
you're like,
and then it's like, oh, they're in a good mood. So I kind of read it that way too.
Yes.
Or like thanks, think about thanks.
Yeah.
THX.
Yeah.
No one wants a thanks like
Or
that.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure
you know.
throws me for a loop. I'm like,
It's
what is sure?
Do you really want to go to lunch with me today?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do? Like, yes.
It really like messes with our heads.
Is that
like,
what you FaceTime me when
all the time? I'm like, can I see your face? Because I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, that's like my mom too. She'll text me K, but then sometimes she'll text me okay, and I'm like, why do you do that?
Yeah.
She's like, well, sometimes I'm busy, and I'm like, well, mom, that's not okay.
No.
Like, I'll put okay
You
and
got
Y. It's
it,
not
yeah.
okay with me. And it's funny that you're the same way with that. For
Yeah.
Sure.
That is so funny.
We're sensitive. We're a sensitive generation.
Well, now I know not to press
Yeah.
too much.
Next time you get an email, if I get a K, I'm gonna be like, oh, not going to the
Yeah, coffee was coming, but not anymore.
That is too funny. So, what are your real estate goals?
I feel like my real estate goals is for one to get my real estate license so that I can help a client in all avenues, because now I know the loan side. I'd love to know the real estate side and how that works so I can help a client both sides, and maybe one day getting my loan origination license to be able to do go back and forth, because you never know
Gotta
what the
be
market's going to
well-versed.
do. Yeah, being well versed in my profession, which I think is extremely important, because you can't take a client and kind of run them into the ground just because they can afford something. You have to know why and how they can afford it.
I
think
like
it's
that.
important.
Yeah. What about you? What's your goals?
My goal is obviously to be in title and escrow forever. I love helping the lenders. I love helping real estate agents. I love helping literally everybody. So if it's with you pairing with a real estate agent or pairing with an event going on, all that kind of stuff, I love that kind of stuff. But my real estate goal on the other side is, like, by the time I'm 30, I want to have 8 houses.
Eight
houses. Or, multi-family house, everything like that. On the 4th or the 5th, I want to be able to do like one Airbnb, if that's in Illinois, Montana, whatever like that. But it goes back to earlier. I want to have like those kind of properties so when my kids grow up, I can kind of teach them the aspects of that. Because real estate is the number one thing to me as far as anything,
And for the most part, it's a safe investment
Yeah.
compared to other types
Exactly.
of investments that
Yeah.
are out there.
Yeah. Like my grandpa for the longest time did like those little pennies and little quarters and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was cool growing up, but now what are they worth? Like $5, and it's like, okay, so I don't know. There's
Even
lot
a
to it.
savings bond doesn't get us anywhere. I have
Yeah.
a million of those. They're like
And
$70.
then the rates on them too. Like the rates are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And no one wants to go cash that. And it's like you get more of my money than my bond would.
No,
It's-
you
no one
gain
wants
$1 every year. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
That's still funny.
What are your goals for your real estate?
Being more easygoing? No, I think what I want to do is just continue learning about the different products that are available for clients, and just be more well versed on changing situations, because a lot of our clients' salaries haven't gone up, but inflation is
Definitely
here.
has.
So they can afford. So how can we make homeownership happen for them? So kind of like really dive into creative ways of financing. So
I love
I can
that.
help out, and I love like troubleshooting things. So
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that's really
Makes it
good.
more fun on a daily basis.
yeah, it
And when
really
it's just straight
does.
up, it's like, all right, have I my coffee yet? And then it's like, okay, I need my coffee. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
It's like you feel those different vibes. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel that too. Like the ones that you go behind the bag to like really figure out what they need or how you can help them. That's what I love on a daily basis too, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
She's definitely a problem solver. So if she knew every loan possible, she'd be able to close anybody.
Yeah, I like that aspect. That's why I was emailing people at 10 o'clock last night, because I'm like, oh, that's the application that you took off my hands. It's just like, oh, I know how to do it now. And then I just started emailing people before I fall asleep,
She just
Yeah.
loves it. That's why you guys need to reach out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
Of
for
course,
joining us.
yeah,
We can't
thank
wait to have you back again. And you guys let us know if you have any comments or questions below, or if you want to find out something about marketing. These guys are amazing. So if you need any marketing tips, just put it in the comments below.
Definitely. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and click the notifications on, because it really helps us out, and we know that you guys want to hear more.
Bye, guys.